She thought she was just serving dinner, but one gesture would expose the hidden prejudice of the richest man in the room. The crystal banquet hall glittered with golden chandeliers and polished marble floors. Tonight was special, a private celebration for one of the city's wealthiest businessmen, Richard Vaughan. The guest list sparkled with politicians, investors, and celebrities. Everyone dressed in sharp suits and flowing gowns, glasses clinking with expensive champagne. In the far corner, Maya adjusted her serving tray. She was one of the waitresses assigned to the banquet, tall, graceful, with skin as dark as ebony. To her, it was just another night of work. Serve, smile, and disappear quietly into the background. That's what most of the guests expected anyway. But then she noticed him. At the long oak table sat Richard's only son, Daniel. Unlike the confident adults around him, Daniel's body trembled slightly. His wheelchair was pushed close to the table, but his eyes stayed down, away from the laughter and chatter. He looked trapped, invisible. Maya gently placed a glass of water near him. "Here you go," she whispered with a kind smile. Daniel looked up, startled, as though he hadn't expected anyone to notice him at all. His lips curved into a small, uncertain smile. For the first time that evening, someone treated him like a person, not a burden. Richard Vaughan, seated at the head of the table, caught this moment. His piercing eyes narrowed. A flicker of disapproval crossed his face, but he said nothing. The orchestra began to play, and couples moved toward the dance floor. The clinking of forks and murmurs of wealth filled the hall. Maya was clearing plates when she heard Daniel's soft voice. I wish I could dance," he whispered, almost to himself. Something stirred inside Maya. She bent down and asked softly, "Do you trust me?" Daniel hesitated, then nodded. And so, in front of the wealthiest, most powerful people in the city, Maya placed the tray aside, took Daniel's hands, and guided him gently in his wheelchair onto the dance floor. Gasps filled the hall. The music swelled. Guests froze, staring in disbelief. A black waitress leading the disabled heir of Richard Vaughan. It was unthinkable. Richard's jaw clenched. His wineglass shattered in his hand. Gasps echoed through the golden banquet hall. All eyes were fixed on the unlikely pair in the center of the dance floor. Maya, the black waitress, gently guiding Daniel's hands, letting him feel the rhythm of the orchestra. The hall, once alive with chatter, fell into a heavy silence. Every whisper carried the same tone: disbelief, judgment, and disapproval. "How dare she?" someone muttered. "This is embarrassing," another voice whispered. Richard Vaughan slammed his palm against the table. His sharp voice cut through the music. "Enough!" The orchestra froze mid-note. The dancers stopped mid-step. The silence was suffocating. Daniel looked at his father with pleading eyes. "Dad, I just wanted to—" "Not another word," Richard barked, his voice trembling with controlled rage. "This is not a circus. Get back to your seat." Maya's chest tightened, but she didn't move. She looked down at Daniel, the hope in his eyes, the small smile that had just begun to form. She couldn't shatter it. "I'm sorry, sir," she said softly but firmly. "But he deserves this moment." Gasps filled the hall again. A waitress defying the richest man in the city? The audacity was unthinkable. Richard rose from his chair, towering above everyone. His face was red with fury. "You will never set foot in this hall again. Do you understand me? You're fired. Right here, right now." Maya felt her throat tighten, but she didn't let go of Daniel's hands. The young boy's grip on her was trembling, not from weakness, but from fear of losing the only kindness he had felt all night. "Dad, please." Daniel's voice cracked. "She's the only one who sees me. The only one who treats me like I matter." The hall went deathly silent. Richard froze. For a moment, even his pride was shaken by the weight of his son's words. But pride is a stubborn thing. He clenched his jaw. "Take him back to his seat. Now." Tears welled in Daniel's eyes. Maya slowly wheeled him back. But the boy whispered, "Don't stop, please. Don't let them take this from me." Maya's heart pounded. She knew she had a choice: obey the man who held her job, or stand for the boy who held nothing but longing? She leaned down and whispered back, "Then we won't stop." And before anyone could react, she spun Daniel's wheelchair again, back into the center of the dance floor. The hall erupted. Guests rose to their feet, some gasping in outrage, others whispering with admiration. A storm was brewing, and Maya was right in the middle of it. The ballroom was chaos. Half the guests were appalled, whispering about disrespect and disgrace. The other half watched in stunned silence, their eyes glued to the sight of Maya and Daniel in the center of the floor. But Maya didn't care. She guided Daniel's arms, letting him sway with the music. Daniel's laughter, pure, unfiltered, and radiant, echoed against the marble walls. For the first time in years, he felt alive. Richard Vaughan's fists trembled at his sides. His empire was built on control, on never being challenged, and here, in front of his peers, a waitress had dared to humiliate him. "Security!" he roared. His voice thundered across the hall. "Remove her at once!" 2 guards in black suits stepped forward, moving toward Maya. Daniel's joy faded into panic. He clutched her hand tighter. "Don't let them take you!" Before the guards could reach them, a voice from the crowd rose above the noise. "Let them dance." Everyone turned. It was Senator Williams, one of the most respected men in the room. His face was calm, his voice steady. "What harm is there in a boy finding joy? Or a woman giving it to him?" Murmurs spread like wildfire. Some nodded, some frowned, but the spell was broken. Richard's authority wavered. His face twitched with barely contained rage. "This is my event. No one undermines me here." "Sometimes," Senator Williams said quietly, "the richest man in the room is the poorest in spirit." The words cut deep. Gasps rippled through the hall again. Richard's jaw tightened, but before he could answer, Daniel's voice rang out. "Dad, I don't need your wealth. I don't need your approval. I just need to live. And she gave me that chance, not you." The hall went silent. Richard stared at his son, stunned. His empire, his pride, his reputation, all meant nothing in that moment. For the first time, he saw not weakness in his son, but courage. Maya stood tall, though her hands trembled. She expected to be dragged out any second. But Richard raised his hand, halting the guards. His face softened, just barely. "Enough," he whispered. He looked at Maya not with warmth, not yet, but with something he had never shown before. Respect. Daniel smiled through tears, still swaying to the fading music. The hall, though divided, could not deny what they had witnessed, the power of kindness, the defiance of prejudice, and the strength of a boy who refused to be invisible. And as the music faded, the world outside that banquet hall would never see Richard Vaughan or the waitress who changed everything the same way again.